Hello, all that's been following along. I appreciate your attention and time to watch. I think it's valuable what I've been doing and meaningful and real. It's it's hopefully going to help people to start looking at science a little differently in a more realistic way. In fact, what I'm going to do on this slide is I'm going to prove that mass is a warping of space-time. I don't know exactly what the science is out there, but I know that that's what there's a lot of talk about. I've seen demonstrations of a ball on a stretched piece of material to where it shows what time and space does. When in reality, I think this is going to prove that. And so let me get right into it so that I can hopefully make my theory of everything, which I'm going to call this the theory of everything in engineer's observations. I'm going to prove that my theory of everything is real, proving that my invention is real too, because that's what all this is about, is proving that it is possible to directly get harvest power or gravity, power from gravity, given the correct mechanism, so that you can harvest the force so that you can create a momentum with torque to generate electricity. I mean, that's what the invention's about. Anyway, let me get this done. Thanks for watching again, and be patient. I'm going to do it as quickly as I can and as concisely as I can. And if there's any questions, send me another comment, and if I see what to do to clear things up, I will. But I think this is going to sew things up pretty well. In fact, let's get there. Okay, what is mass? We're going to define that completely. What is mass? As well as we're going to define where does gravity get the power to output force to be what gravity does, okay? And again, I already said mass is a warping of space-time, so I'm not going to lead you off astray if that's what you believe already. We're going to get there, okay? So let's go there. Okay, of course, we've already looked at this in the previous space-time, and of course, this is gravity and this is mass, okay? Now, I put this little table together just to show, gravity is like, is a force. Basically, we know it's from center to center of large masses, such as the sun and the earth. That's the relationship we have with gravity with the sun. So I've got it coming down, and the horizontal movements, I'm thinking that in a rational way, we can assume that this vector is associated, or we can associate it, just like we can directly associate gravity with center to center of mass, we can associate this with the movements of mass. They're just the movements of mass, like the earth going around the sun, and the sun, and all of the other movements, and just energy that's free and available, in whatever form. We just call that horizontal movement, okay? And because all of that's happening in space, okay? So it's in space. Anyway, there must be mass to know space. And the point is that the first thing we need to do is come up with some mass. How do we do that? Well, here's the equation for mass. Mass is space in a very, very small area, okay? So this is a very, 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 very small space, and time in relation to space becomes a velocity, and this velocity is circular. It forms the mass, and because it's circular, as we know what atoms are, it absorbs the mass, and it's a scalar. It's not giving off the energy because it takes or absorbs all the energy to maintain its status as a mass. Okay, and we know this. This isn't nothing new. Okay, we know what mass does, and basically what this is showing it over here is that when we have a mass, okay, we have this is a sphere, say the mass a sphere, okay, and we know that there is a velocity of an electron going around it, okay. So there's definitely space involved and time involved, and evidently, just to maintain the momentum to exist takes one of the two vectors, and the second vector, the time vector, maintains it in that condition continuously throughout time. And then you can get into some thoughts of decay of matter and all we're not going to get into. But the point I'm getting at is that we can see the relationship between between mass and space. And of course, we know how mass is built up in atoms and stars. There's a rationale about this fits in with all of that mechanical, because that's all mechanical world. I don't want to get distracted with stuff that I'm not ready for. So anyway, so now we've got mass, and because we've got mass, we can have gravity, because gravity only exists if there is a mass. In other words, if gravity around the Earth is just, nobody even knows it's there until something, until the apple breaks free and starts to fall. Oh yeah, there was something there that pulled it. What is it? In other words, mass is necessary. So basically, time and space are related. They're absolutely necessary together. In the same way, circular energy fields, which we call mass, is required in order to obtain energy from linear space, because this potential is there, but it can't be utilized unless it's got a preformed piece of mass to move. So from that, mass is a circular time vector in linear space, very small linear. In other words, what's happening is the energy that the velocity is using is to keep the mass, it's using that energy to keep it in that form. And we know what quantum mechanics is and all. I don't want to get into all of that. So anyway, we can see that the relationship between time and space. So basically, what I'm wanting to prove now is there is available energy, and we can see it because in creating mass, there's an energy required that basically that's being given off that sustains mass in its condition, okay? And that's given off by these two vectors. It's two vectors that make this, okay? Now, with regard to gravity, though, we've got a mass up here, which isn't a vector, and one vector evidently is needed in order for this to be sustained. Let me come down here, and I think this is going to be it. So basically, to exist, okay, in other words, for the movement to occur, it takes this much energy, okay? Because that's what we're talking about, a potential energy, a movement in gravity. And so in movement in gravity, we know this is the equation of gravity, mass over time squared. So in movement in space, one time is required to sustain its momentum. One of the t's of the t squared is required to sustain the momentum. And the other t becomes available as output power because it's not having to bend space or to bend space-time around itself in order to sustain its form. The energy is available. And that available energy is the energy that we harvest in my machine, just like nature harvests it in many other forms, evidently as chlorophyll, as fusion in the sun, in all sorts of ways. That's what is happening. But the excess energy is available, and we know it's available because we know it's available to make mass. So that's where the energy of the universe or everything is coming from, okay? And so can we directly harvest power from gravity? Yes. Why? Because we've got this element here, this one-time element that we've been doing it forever. We just need to figure out how to do it in a practical way, and that's what my invention does. My invention has learned, or I've developed techniques to manipulate these things, manipulate time, space, and gravity, bend it just like warping space-time in my machine, creating the effect we need so that we can harvest the power to make electricity or whatever we want to use the power for, the movement for, the torque, the movement, a velocity at a torque that we're going to harvest, that potential energy. And of course we can do that because the energy cannot be destroyed. We can manipulate it. You know, that's what mechanical advantage is. All of this is mechanical advantage. Basically, space-time working together, we can create a situation to create a mechanical advantage of mass. And then once we've got a mass, we can create a mechanical advantage of gravity. And in which we've got this, we can create electricity. Anyway, let me see if I've covered the whole thing. So basically, this is space-time reality. By the way, hopefully I've spelled everything correctly. If not, please forgive me. And you can look at this, in our world, this is a 2D plane, you know. In the 3D world, it's a sphere, it's mass, okay? But in our world, it's really a 2D plane. That's what I'm talking about. This is a 2D plane. Basically, to have my mechanism running, it takes this much torque, this much momentum just to exist. And all of the extra power is the power that we're going to harvest, because it can't be destroyed. It's available continuously with gravity. It's available. We can harvest that extra power. And this is the power that my mechanism, my invention, the gravity-powered energy production platform and control system is going to make it possible to, again, once we build it and perfect it, and I'm challenging the world right now to prove me wrong. Build my machine to my specifications, and if it don't work quite right, let's look at it and see, you know, tweak it. But I'm certain that it's going to work. And so, look, I'm approaching 12 minutes. I want to keep these short. So please, hopefully this has been as insightful. Yeah, I am connected with the reality of the world, with Einstein, and that's why I brought this thing up about the theory of everything, because I knew that it was a good way to connect this with everything else. This is the as below, there's as above, and there's, you know, beyond, you know, as to the holographic nature of the symmetry of nature, the holographic nature of things. Thank you.